Okay, today we are going to discuss 7 tips that will boost your credit score to get that FICO score up to where you want it. Now, the first one is to correct all inaccuracies on your credit report. Now, go through your credit reports very carefully. Especially look for late payments, charge offs, collections, or other negative items that are not yours. I like to use highlighters of different colors, and so I can itemize it that way. Accounts listed as settled, paid, derogatory, paid charge off, or anything other than current or paid as agreed. Now, if you have paid on time and in full accounts that are still listed as unpaid that are included in a bankruptcy, negative items older than 7 years, 10 years in the case of a bankruptcy, that should automatically have fallen off on your report. You must be careful with this last one because sometimes scores actually go down when bad items fall off your report. It's a quirk of the FICO credit scoring software, and the potential effect of eliminating old negative items is difficult to predict in advance. You can't really see this, and in the future I'll post something that you guys can see a little bit better. But even though the negative is coming off, there's a history there that is a different factor in coming up with your credit score, and by eliminating that, that can bring your points down. But in the long run, I feel it's best to get all negative items removed that are on there. Now, make sure that you don't have duplicate collection notices listed either. Duplicates can be on there. So for example, if you have an account that has gone to collections, the original creditor may list the debt as well as the collection agency. All duplicates must be removed. So the second thing is to make sure that your proper credit lines are posted on your credit reports. Now, often in an effort to make you less desirable to their competitors, some creditors, they will not post your proper credit line, showing a less available credit, and this can negatively impact your credit score. If you see this happening on your credit report, you have a right to complain and bring this to their attention. If you have bankruptcies that should be showing a zero balance, also make sure that they show a zero balance. Very often, the creditor will not report a bankruptcy charge-off as a zero balance until it's been disputed. Now, if you have negative remarks on your credit report, this is the third thing. You can negotiate with the creditor or the lender to remove it. Now, if you're a long-time customer and it's something simple like a one-time late payment, a creditor will often wipe it away just to keep you as a loyal customer. They'll be your buddy for sure, absolutely, because it really doesn't affect them in a negative way at all. So if you have a serious negative mark, such as a long overdue bill that has gone to collections, always negotiate a payment in exchange for removal of the negative item. Always make sure you have this agreement with them in writing. Do not pay off a bill that has gone to collections unless the creditor agrees in writing that they will remove the derogatory item from your credit report. This is important when speaking with the creditor or a collection agency about a debt that has gone to collections. Do not admit ever that the debt is yours. Admission of debt can restart the statute of limitations and may enable the creditor to sue you. You are also less likely to be able to negotiate a letter of deletion if you admit that this debt is yours. So it's all about how you phrase this. Simply say, I am calling about account number, such and such, instead of saying I'm calling about my past due debt. That's why when people do credit repair themselves, this is the biggest mistake sometimes. You don't need to explain many things to them. They're irrelevant. Oftentimes your explanation of why something is derogatory is exactly what they needed to make sure that that item stays on your credit report. So, take the emotion out of it. Another thing, sometimes before any of this happens, creditors will send you letters saying, pay this and we'll take it off your credit report. But oftentimes they don't follow through. And so even if you didn't request that information, but they said as such, keep it, hold on to it, because later on you may be able to use that email or that letter to get the item removed. Now, the fourth thing is pay all credit cards and any revolving credit down to below 30% of the available credit line. Now, the scoring system wants to make sure you are not overextended, but at the same time they want to see that you do not that you just indeed do not use that much credit. So 30% of the available credit line seems to be the magic balance to credit line ratio to have. For example, if you have a credit card with a $10,000 credit line, make sure that you are never more than $3,000, even if you pay the account off in full each month. If your balances are higher than 30% of the available credit line, pay them down. You never want to be above 50%, ever. Absolutely not. If you have to, get those higher credit limits so that you can, put more of a balance on there. Now, if your balances are higher than 30% of the available credit line, then you're going to be in good standing, and you can keep that on a regular basis. It'll help you instead of affect you negatively. So here's another thing you can try. Ask your longtime creditors if they will raise your credit line without checking your FICO score or the credit report. Tell them that you're shopping for a house and you can't afford to have any hits on your credit report. Many will not do that, but some will. So the other thing, number 5, do not close your credit card accounts. Old established accounts, show your history and tell about your stability and paying habits. If you have an older credit card accounts that you want to stop using, what you do is you just cut the cards up or keep them in a drawer. Have your mother put them in a safe at her house, but keep the accounts open. Avoid applying for new credit is number 6. Now remember, all credit is new at some time, and so you want credit to get older. You have to open up accounts at some point, but just be aware of this. This is going to affect your credit to some extent. So each time you apply for new credit, your credit report gets checked. New credit cards will not help your credit score, and a credit account less than 1 year old may hurt your credit score. So use your cards and credit as little as possible until the next credit scoring. So keep in mind, if this does happen, like I just said a moment ago, a year later they will reflect totally different. So 7, the last thing, having at least 3 revolving credit lines and 1 active or paid installment loan listed on your credit report. So variety is key. The scoring system wants to see that you maintain a variety of credit accounts. Now, it also wants to see that you have 3 revolving credit lines. If you do not have 3 active credit cards, you might want to open some. But keep in mind that if you do, you're going to need to wait some time before rescoring. If you have a poor credit score and you're not approved for a typical credit card, you might want to set up a secured credit card account. Now, this means that you will have to make a deposit that is equal or more than your limit, which guarantees the bank that you will repay the loan. It's an excellent way to establish credit. It's kind of the bottom of the barrel, but for those of you that can't really do anything else, you got to get started there. Examples of an installment loan would be a car loan, or it could be a furniture or a major appliance. In addition to the above, having a mortgage listed will bring your score even higher. Mortgages are great. Can't get into a mortgage now? Well, hopefully at the end of this course, that's exactly what we can get you into. So throughout this process, always remember, it does take up to 30 days for any of these things to get reported, and often longer to reflect on your credit history report. So if it feels like a slow process, distract yourself, but hang in there, because it does work. This tedious process can be made much simpler, with the right software, with some assistance, with a course like this. So you guys are doing great. I'll look forward to talking with you next time, and I hope those 7 tips help. They are things that you can implement immediately, so get going.